Hey, all right, everybody, welcome. It is, what's the date tonight? June 17th, 2014, class number 4. Pow. Okay. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had a good week and you had good success with inking your drawings, right? We talked about that you guys would redraw what you did, but this time with a really great pen. Where's my great pen? Here's the pen I like to use. This is the Precise V5 by Pilot. It's blue. I just prefer blue. I've always drawn blue. And then ink on top. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I hope you guys did that, and then I hope you guys had a good time with the vector shape sheet. That's critical practice, because what you're going to do is then take that to the next level and then start to begin the creation process of your symbols. So tonight we're going to dive a little deeper into Illustrator, putting our symbols together, and we're going to do some fun ways that are really simple, really easy, and will hone both your sort of shape building skills. We're going to learn how to put things together with shapes tonight, and then also with pen tool, right, for some of those curves that can't be by shapes. So without further ado, let's go check out my courses and see what it is that you guys have going on there. Okay. Cool. All right, here we are. So tonight's broadcast is coming to you live from this video window right there. And of course, it will be saved as our previous ones. All right, so let's see. So here is our final ink sketch that we're going to take a look at, that everybody has posted. So let's see what's going on. Okay, cool. All right, sorry, I'm waiting for files to load here. But Miss Jennifer Buchanan commenting like a boss. Way to go. Okay, so we got Jason's. Jason's much better, right? I like that now ink treatment is making your symbols absolutely clear. Good improvement on what we got, right? That mouse is definitely more recognizable. Flag is stronger. The kimchi pot, right? It's like there may be a little bit of literacy gaining that people need to do if they're unfamiliar with a kimchi pot. But your army rank, the beret, candle, looking good. I would, apply the same contrast aesthetic that you're doing to your mouse and your candle, right? That's going to give you sort of the strongest and most consistent look across your icons. Good job, Jason. Very cool. Okay, Jen. All right, so let's see. Jen, we've got some new ones here. So eye drops. Cool. All right, so I'm not recalling the basis of your sketch. I know you had more of like what looked like something that had come from almost the eye wash in the chemistry lab, right? It already had that iconic feel. Looking at these, I think we're missing the dropper, right? Like that was a really sort of interesting, critical part of your previous drawing. So yeah, I would say go a little lighter on detail. Your eyelashes, you could probably do like 5 eyelashes right here that are triangles, and those would look just as good, I think, as these more detailed ones. So this one is, right, you're on the right path. The eye, I think, is a good orientation. Definitely pointing towards the drop, but maybe showing a little bit of that dropper off to the side could help, right? So that we're not misreading the symbol in any way. Cool. Mahjong tablets, right? We talked about those last time. These look good. Very cool. Okay. I'm hoping you've got more. There's only 2 here, but maybe there is. Let's see. We'll go to, oh, here's Jason again. Oh, looks like he uploaded twice. Okay, all right, sorry. Maybe that's just a mis-upload, but that's fine. All right, we'll move on to Logan. Hey, Logan, how are you? Let's see, we've got, cool, your Daisy, right? You've labeled them, so we can see what we've got. But I'm covering them with my finger, right? And I want to make sure, I'm trying not to see what the label is so that I get what it is. And I'm getting it, right? This certainly looks like an owl, right? Stylized for sure. Painting, cool, so you went for the artistic painting. Easel, brush, beret. Can't beat it. Wine, cool. I've always liked your wine glass. I think it's been one of your strongest. And the daisy, cool. All right, so we got the chief characteristics of that plant for sure. And then your photographers, still interesting, right? There's the man with the giant camera head. So yeah, I mean, I think this might be an interesting sort of look into how, if you were to make like hundreds of icons, let's say, that like maybe that one would be sort of a sense of your character. Right, it's sort of like a little funny, right? A little zany, surreal, right? To use a bigger word, but I think it fits. It's a little out of what you got here. These are like actual pictograph things, And then this one's more of an ideograph, right? An ideograph is something that doesn't quite exist, but is still a thing, right, that we recognize. Good job, Logan. Right, these are looking sharp. Definitely ready for vector prime time, for sure. All right, let's see. Okay, so let's see. Blair gave us a PDF. Blair, let's see what we got here. I love JPEGs. You know why? Because now, look, I got to download it. Look at what you're making me do. Horrible. Oh, my God. I'm suffering right now through 10 clicks of things. Ah, okay. Very nice. Well, you come through, for sure. Nice. Cool. These are really doing, right? You applied the feedback well. Good for you. This is very cool. So of these now, I'm doing, let me switch over here real quick. Let me show you guys. This is my, I'm back here. Hi. So what we do is this special thing when we're looking at art, okay, and it's called the squint test. So what you do is you look at the artwork through your eyelashes like this, okay, and mindful, right? This is the time when if I do this too much, I'm going to get the crow's feet. So please, use it sparingly. But if you look at something through your eyelashes like this, right, I'm still looking, but it looks like my eyes are closed. All right, I'll switch back now, and you guys can look with me. We're going to look at the icons, okay? And I want you guys to notice that, like, absolutely 100%, the ones that have the dark fill pop, right? And I hate using that word, but they have great contrast, probably the best contrast than any of the others, right? So this is a lesson in how contrast can play a role. I'm not saying that every icon has to be stark, right? But it should have a good strength against its background, right? You remember what Gestalt principle that was, where we had object and then the space that it inhabits, right? If you can remember. I'm doing like Blue's Clues right now. I'll wait and look at the camera. You're right, right? Figure ground, right? Exactly, okay? You didn't get that one, no problem, all right? But so cool. Two things, right? When we're looking here at Meredith's stuff, is that when we squint, right, we can see that the ones that have high contrast really pop off the page, right? And they're really doing a good thing. And you do well with feedback. Well done. I love the little sort of etch detail on these. You know, I wanted you to experiment with the different styles, the line art, the detailed kind of one, and then the filled one, just so you can sort of see what you like and what you don't like as far as icon styles are concerned. Cool. These are great, and I bet, like we said last time, there's probably a ton more that you could do, right? Well, we got the Eames chair. Way to go. Cool deal. We could do the Breuer chair, right? Or the I'm using the Bauhaus guy, Van der Rohe, right? Or even the Gropius chair. I mean, gosh, doesn't that sound horrible? The Gropius chair. Walter Gropius, he's a real guy. All right. Cool deal. All right. Sorry, actually, not Meredith. I apologize, Meredith. Blair. That was Blair. Way to go, Blair. You were awesome. Thank you so much. There she is. Let's give her a quick shout out here. There she is. Look at her with her kids. Oh, hey. Good job, Blair. Those are really cool. Do me a favor, please, next time. JPEG. All right? So make sure that you do that for me. I appreciate that. Okay, Meredith, on to you. So now, good job that we've got now your inked sketches right next to your penciled sketches. So that's helpful to see. I appreciate this, showing the work. I didn't ask for it, but it's nice to have it here for sure. Okay, so looking at these, right, looks like these two, ice cream and volleyball, are sort of stylistically connected, while the others are more the line art style. Cool, right? I would say if you could try to unify your style, right? If you're launching this set of icons, I would go with either the line art or the high contrast style in that way. Okay, so one that I'm not totally sure of is the salt shaker. Okay, without the label, I wasn't sure exactly what it was. Here, I see like these are from the side, totally look like salt shakers. But this could be other things, right? I know it's the top angle, and right, you know it. But I would say that's the one that I would work on still, right? And maybe consider using these other two, right? The complete ones, where you're showing the actual salt inside. A cool thing you could do is if you made a salt shaker's shape and then put little white dots, little white circles inside of it, then that you would get that sense of, right, the color of salt. And I think in a high contrast environment of black and white could work well. Cool. So like I said, try either or, right? Style, right? Line art or contrast. with these other ones, the Wiener dog, the flower pot, the straw. I think, you know, volleyball's cool, where you got a player with the ball. Maybe bring the volleyball lines into your player. I get it. I mean, that it's volleyball, but maybe that would help signify it and make it not handball, right? Or, you know, something else like snowball. That's not a sport, but yes. Anyway, yeah, and then same deal, right? Like there are some things that you can do for flower pot, right? That could help as far as gaining that contrast. I know it's like either fill it or don't, but you could do like a little shading thing in the middle. You know, we'll talk about that tonight when we do our demo. And then the wiener dog and the straw, right? There's cool ways that you could play with that contrast that I think would really make those work and unify them. So make a choice. And I think, yeah, you're off to the races with this next round. Wow, William. Okay, you never disappoint, my friend. Wow, okay. So, so we got marking territory, right, with our different dogs. All right, so it looks like you've drawn a few. Okay, all right, not bad. I appreciate you experimenting. So this no fishing. So, okay. So I get the toilet, right? So like we shouldn't fish in toilets because that's sort of insane and mad. But I'm not necessarily getting the no, right? Because no has that ideogram, that circle with the slash across it, right? Top left to bottom right in the red. So I wonder, like, should that be what it is that you're saying, or do you want to say no fishing in the toilet? So if either way, right, like you have a choice here, you have a crossroads at which we can sort of bring that in. Yeah, you know, I like your character. You sort of have an interesting style. You're sort of playing with anatomical forms, right? He's got a little bit of a bootay here, right? So, you know, think about like what you want to do, and whatever you do is if you want your characters to sort of be in that posture and have that body shape, just do it consistently, right? Make any picto person you do look that way, and it's fine, right? You'll sort of establish a pattern, and that's okay. All right, so marking territory, that's cool. I like the dashed line, right? Sort of looks like cartoon pee-pee, and you've got your dog, great shape for a dog, and then the tree. So I think, you know, number one is probably my favorite, and same with this one, number one. I would do like you've done here and try to get the toilet onto the same level of the feet of the guy, right? Because that's sort of how it would be in real life. You know, try to get that locked down, right, between your drawings. Same thing here, baseline, right? The baseline of the tree should match the baseline of the dog. And I think, yeah, you're good to go on that. Cool. All right, definitely some humor. I like that. Okay, here we go. Even more humor. All right, we've got a man who is letting some gas out. Okay, cool. That is, you know, it happens. We're all humans. Everybody poops. Wonderful book. Okay, cool. I like the sort of line art cloud, and then the filled guy. That's a good one. Definitely have good stylistic, good contrast with those. Gnome crossing. Okay. I think this center one seems to be the one that's probably closest to being gnome crossing, actually. Right? These other ones, this is no gnomes, and then this is, I think, just a symbol of gnomes. So I think you need, if you want to include that crossing, right, just give us the language of crossing, right, and how that sort of goes down. All right. Then we've got, let's see, toilet monster. Fun. All right. Again, we seem to be in this toilet realm, which is, you know, it's okay. Maybe that's a part of the noun project that is not well populated. So, William, you may own that section of it for sure. Yeah, go simple. You know, like try to just get the general shape of a monster. The teeth are good. The eye is good. You know, sort of gator-like, I think is fun. So yeah, so I would just choose whichever one you think is the strongest of those. I like this one, number 2, and go for it. Cool. Okay, Hector. Let's see, my friend. Cool. Nice. This is still, I think, of yours, my favorite. I just think it's most interesting is the diabetes. I really like that. I think that's like really a winner. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a lot of downloads on that one. That's pretty, because it's unique. It's very interesting. These other things are good too, but I think they're more pedestrian, right? They're more common, and there are others, right? As you've mentioned to me, you wanted to see if you could really sort of evolve some of these. Cool. The can is still working. I like that angle. I think you're still getting a recognizable can from that angle. Toast is good. We now see the shape of the bread, which is cool, and some knobs and timers and those sorts of things. Cool. You know, again, try to, if you could, try to just get consistent, right? If you're doing like a can from a top angle, you know, would your beer mug do that? Would the toaster do that? You know, I would just say just try to become consistent, or you know, build sets off of these. It's still possible that these are, you know, single images from a larger set that you may build in the future. Totally viable. But I would try to just keep in mind consistency, right? Try to just be consistent with all the sort of ways that you treat an image. Cool. Okay. I like this outlet. I think it's reading a lot stronger. If you did do a white one, you know, I would go outline and then fill in the shapes of the plug. Yeah, I'm looking at the outlet right now on my wall. It kind of has that contrast look to it. Cool. And is this a new one, the heartbeat? I'm not remembering that one from last time, but forgive me if you've done them from the last go around. But that's cool. This has, yeah, I mean, you certainly get the EKG, right? The echocardiogram, the beep beep, the light that, you know, is next to people in dramatic hospital scenes in movies. Cool. Yeah, and you've added a heart, right, instead of a real heart shape. So cool. You brought in the suit. And then this sheet music. So here's what I'm seeing when I see this. The bass clef, right? I believe, right? It could be treble. I apologize if I'm getting that wrong. But that clef, right, would signify, I think, a specific thing. You know, if we're talking about sheet music, I would actually like find a document, like an icon of a document, and draw out sheet music. That's how I would approach it. Because I see this as either a specific clef or a staff, right? Which, right, a staff is one line of sheet music. So either tweak the name if you want to go for what it is you're saying, maybe you've just mislabeled it, or if you know what you want to do and it's not coming together that way, try drawing the document. I think that's going to be the way to do it. Boombox, I want to see you work on. I think Boombox and Toaster need some help, right, as far as really just style. You know, even the sheet music has some line thickness variance. These look sort of different. So I would try to, if you can, like, you know, unify that. Cool. All right, Katie. All right, Katie, getting serious with the makeup. Nice. Very nice. Okay, so good. You've got things on a better angle now. They're all sort of face up, looking at what it is that we're doing. Looks like you put a slight angle on this nail polish bottle still. I bet you're probably still dealing with the fact that you know, as a thing, it looks pretty common, right? Could be whiteout, right, for all we know. So I don't know. I mean, at what point do you ask yourself, can the icon stand on its own, or we bring in a nail, right, and show it painted and that sort of thing? I wonder. Or is there something else? Like, what else goes with nails? I don't know. It's been a long time since I've done my nails. Cotton balls? I don't know. I mean, is there maybe something just thinking in that direction as opposed to trying to add nails? If that was, because that's a big change, I think, stylistically. I don't know. I wonder if, you know, do you show the cap standing, right, with the brush? I wonder. All right. Cool. But these are good getting started. And the brush, you know, be mindful, right? As we mentioned, you might want to show the cheek because it could be misconstrued as just like a stencil brush. You know, stencil brushes look like that. So, oh, looks like a repeat there, the same. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, it looks like you got a few here. Gosh, wow, it's the first time I've ever used the browser. All right, and then we got Alexis here. So Alexis has the stapler, the pottery wheel, cool. Wow, that looks like Professor Gerwin doing his thing. Puppet, oh, love Puppet, very cool. Just be mindful of getting the feet of the puppeteer and the puppet on the same level, okay? Just like you did, and same thing with the pottery wheel. Get that lined up, and that is solid. The stapler looks awesome. That one I think is one of your strongest. I think getting the thickness between the top part and the base, the little white line, that's going to be critical, that that's thick enough. Okay, that's going to be the one part I want you to focus on. Cool, arcade machine looks great. I like the sort of nondescript things, and the joystick's really clear on the same baseline. Wicked. And okay, and then you get your master sword. Fabulous. All right, you dig that stuff. Good job, Alexis. These are pretty tight. Yeah, you definitely are ready for rocking and rolling. Now, full disclosure, Alexis was in my core class as well as my doodles class. So she's been through the symbol sort of thing. So she's now taking that training and putting it into really producing these symbols. Right? Perhaps, let's see. Nope, I think that's it for now. Okay. All right, so a couple of people, looks like we post. If you could, guys, comment, right? If you're just sort of hanging, listening to the broadcast and you're multitasking, go ahead and please, yeah, just comment on my courses, right? And this is, of course, for the Queen students. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, so I, yeah, in my infinite wisdom, set my YouTube videos to be public, and yeah, we've been getting some requests from people from Europe and somebody from South Africa and somebody from Ecuador who is asking, like, where is the Illustrator file that I can download? So, yeah, apparently we went global with our class. But this class I've set to private, so it's really just for us. Really because I'm not going to be able to support people who are outside of Queens, but you guys, you have a special place in my heart, being actual students at Queens. But yeah, of course, they won't be able to access my courses to get the files, unlike you guys. Cool. All right. So anyway, good stuff, guys. These are really cool. And the fact that you've photographed them, and those that I've mentioned, the couple of things to edit, just if you guys could go in there really, from the transition from that point into Illustrator, I would really try to, tighten that stuff up, try to really lock down the things you're doing, and then the comments I gave. But good job, guys. This is more than I expected. Very cool. All right. So what I will do also, I won't do right now with you guys, is the vector shape sheet. I will look at this and give you guys the credit for it, okay? Because it's just a practice assignment, okay? But hopefully, yeah, hopefully you guys got some good practice out of it. I know some people had problems downloading the file, so I thought I'd take a minute here just to show you guys like how that goes down, right? So if it's a web-oriented file like a JPEG or a PNG, GIF, all sorts of things that are a PDF, right, that are web-friendly, then those things just download. But if there is something like a vector shapesheet, like this AI document, here's what you got to do. So I'm in Chrome browser right now, and I'm on a Mac. So it's going to sort of go a certain way for me. That's how this goes down. But if you're on Safari or Firefox on a Mac or a PC, if you're on Internet Explorer, there's always this feature with these files. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'll highlight the vector shapesheet just by rolling over it with my mouse, and then I'm going to hold my finger on the Control key. Okay. And click, and then you get this drop-down menu. And this is what it looks like on a Mac in Chrome. And what we're seeing here is, for Chrome, it says Save Link As. For other folks, let's see, well, it might take me a minute to load other browsers, but it might say Download Link As, or, yeah, like that sort of, anything that says Download or Save Link As is going to sort of automatically get the file for you. Some of you, I got notes, and you had said, well, I clicked the document, and it would just open up in a browser. That's your browser wanting to sort of keep it on the web, right? But Illustrator documents are not web ready, right? They're not ready to do that. So you'll need to do that Save Link As. And then that's going to download to your computer, okay? And then this is the sort of next thing, right? So if I was to just download this vector shapesheet, all right, it's nice Chrome does this. It sort of shows you where stuff goes. I just sent it to my downloads folder. Okay, so I will open up really quick. Hang on a second here. I'm focused on my browser only. So I'm going to switch this up real quick so you can see. Hello again. And switch this so now we can see my desktop. Whoa, infinite. Okay. All right, so what we need to do is check this out. Open up Chrome real fast, or my browser. Go to Downloads, okay, and then I'm looking for vector shapesheet, right? And there it is in the list. And what we're going to do, sorry, let me remind myself really fast. System preferences, accessibility, okay, zoom. Oh yeah, I got to relearn this keyboard shortcut. Control, delete. All right. Oh, there we go. Okay. That's how we do it. So there you can see vector shape sheet. All right. Now, whether you're on PC or Mac, what you'll need to do is not every machine will automatically, like when you double click this, open it in Illustrator. So control again and click, and you get this pop down. And again, I'm working on the Mac only. So I'm going to go to this open, underneath it, open with. You can see I have the ability to open this file in 3 programs, right, that the computer has designated me to do. But your Illustrator might not show up here. So what you can do is go to Other, and then, let me zoom out here, you can choose application, right? So if I'm scrolling through my list here, here's Illustrator, there's the application, and now I can say open, right? And I can even do always open with, right? So now it will automatically, anytime I click an AI file, it'll open up Illustrator for me, right? And then there's no sort of breakdown, right, in what it is that you got going on. All right, so the control key, your brand new best friend, right? It is going to be the thing that allows you to do what's called a contextual menu, right? And a contextual menu is going to be something that is options that are in context. So in the case of getting this file, it's not just a single click, it's control click. And that's going to be what gives you the ability to do save link as we're seeing here in Chrome on a Mac. Okay? All right, so hopefully that answers that question about getting at the file. Okay? If you're behind on vector shapesheet because of that, that is the answer to solve it. Get on it. Okay? Get that thing in before next week, please. All right? Actually, before the end of this week would be really ideal. Right? That way I can see it and give you credit, and then we don't lapse. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys another vector shape sheet to work on, but tonight, as we mentioned, we're going to be working on preparing symbols for the noun project. So this video that you see here does that, right? It talks about taking your image and doing the things that you need to do in order to get set up for the noun project, right? They have specific information as far as what it is that they're looking for when you upload a symbol. So if I go to Noun Project right now, head over there right quick, okay, and I'm logged in already, right? You'll need to log in using your account. Now go to Upload Icons, because they have changed the way this goes. So my video doesn't have the same exact screen, so I'm going to just sort of take you through it overall here. But they've actually made it simpler, which is nice. So yeah. So here, they even have a tutorial if you wanted to do it. It's a good tutorial. I looked at it. Mine's comparable, so you choose, but I would look at both. So here it says, what makes a good icon? It's iconic, narrative, or abstract, right? Sort of their criteria as far as subject matter goes. And then this is the important part, the technical requirements. So all of our shapes and our symbols can have no strokes. We're actually going to use strokes, but we'll convert them and expand them in Illustrator so that they become shapes, right? We're going to learn how to use something tonight called the pathfinder, which is where we can take a bunch of vector stuff, which is going to stay separate in objects because it's the way vector graphics work, but we're going to then combine them and not just group them, but we're going to actually merge them into one consistent shape, and that's rad. So you can see here, the next thing is they want all black, RGB, or in the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, the CMYK world. That would be 0 cyan, 0 yellow, 0 magenta, but then full black, full K, right? That's sort of pure black versus processed black, right? Which is a little bit different than what this is. So this sort of levels the playing field for everybody. They can start on a fresh color. There's no CMYK stuff going on. Size-wise, right? The largest dimension is 100 pixels, but they say do a 5-pixel buffer, so roughly 90 to 95 pixels is what they're looking for. So we'll set up our document to be that size straight away, so we don't have to worry about it. But I'll also show you how you can manipulate the artboard in Illustrator to make that happen. Yeah, and you can use compound paths, which are Illustrator's way of maintaining separate shapes, even though you've merged things, but we may not group anything. Okay, they don't want grouping. Right? Really, it's because they want all this stuff set up so everybody can take apart the symbols, do what they want with them, and they're flexible and easy. If they're grouped or in some sort of configuration, they're locked up. They're hard to take apart. Not everybody's skilled in Illustrator enough to make that happen. So it just saves that extra step. And then lastly, these are going to be SVGs, right? An SVG is a scalable vector graphic, and there's a handy link here that takes you through W3 Schools, the World Wide Web Consortium, as to what an SVG is. So there are two kinds of graphics in the world, right? And we looked at them during our graphic design basics piece, which was bitmap, right, pixel-based graphics, and then vector graphics. So on the web, historically, it's been pixel-based graphics because JPEGs, PNGs, and GIFs are really lightweight and they have compression schemes, meaning that you can make them smaller, right, through some algorithm. But somebody a long time ago invented this thing called SVGs, and it's sort of been on the wayside of stuff, right? I didn't use SVGs until really like HTML5 came out, and even Noun Project got me doing SVGs way more. So it is a way to transport vector graphics, logos, maps, all sorts of things that need to be vector, onto the net. SVGs are also rad, keep in mind, because they can be coded, okay? You can use Illustrator actually to write JavaScript that will control an SVG. So what can you control about it? The color, like the stroke, the fill, all the things you can do in Illustrator, you can do to SVG graphics on the web. And they're live. They're like sort of dynamic and amazing. So yeah, that's what we're going to be working with file format-wise. So none of these will ever be JPEGs or PNGs. They'll all be SVGs, okay? And I'll show you how you can save those from Illustrator. So this is it. This is the stuff, right, as far as what it is that they're looking for to get going. There's even a template here, which it's okay. We can make our own, right? It's good practice to get things going. And then lastly here, you can do two things. You can upload individual icons or a set, okay? Now, I would say that we should do individuals because you may want to later on put things into collections, right, or sets. So yeah, plus a lot of the style of your icons right now are not as consistent. Some of you got it where they're all the same, but not everybody's doing that. So to encourage you to experiment and try the line art, textured, and high contrast styles, try them all. You know what I mean? Like see what works. Because sometimes people, you know how people love a bold font and then a light font and then an italic version of the font? You can do that with icons, where you can make a line art version, which is a little less impacting, might work with a lighter background of color, or white, for example, or the full contrast, or textured, right? All those styles would be valuable to somebody, right, as far as how things go. And sorry, just to be sort of, checking myself out here. Yeah, look at that. Somebody downloaded the crack pipe. Cool. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you have arrived when you have made the crack pipe. So there it is. There's my crack in the pipe. Yeah. Don't ask me why I know what a crack pipe looks like. I just thought it would be an awesome icon that nobody would ever do. And I think I was right. Because there's not even remotely a crack pipe here at all. Oop. I spoke too soon. Someone put a bong here. Wow. Okay. So I hope I didn't start a trend of paraphernalia. Somebody named Enco. Okay. They're from Venice. They're Italian. All right. Cool. So, yeah. So that is sort of a quick rundown of what that is with what we got going on. Let us, folks, head over to Illustrator, okay, and begin working on our project here, okay? And I got a lot of stuff open. I apologize. It's stuff I'm working on. So I'm opening up Illustrator Creative Cloud, right, CC, and I'm going to do File New, right? Or if you have that window that pops up in the beginning, like for tips, you can just say OK. But then when it asks you about starting a new file, you'll get this window, this New Document window, okay, as you can see here. Right? So there is the New Document window. So we don't need to do anything mega special here, other than in the width and height, we're going to type in 100 px, and it's important you do the px, okay, because we're setting a specific unit of measurement. I've already set it there because I do a lot of web work, but if yours isn't set, where it says units right here, you can change it, of course, from inches to points to metric, that sort of thing. But pixels is where we're at because of the specific dimensions that Noun Project gave us. So we're going to go tonight 100 by 100 pixels. Boom, just like that, okay? And that is going to be what we do. All right, and that's going to set. That's going to set the dimensions, right? So we can work within the space of what we've got. All right. So we'll say OK. Let me zoom out here. All right. So here we are within 100 by 100 pixels. All right. It's not big. Not big at all. Like 100 scale, that's actual scale. It's like a postage stamp. Okay. This is good because your icon should read at this size. If it reads at this size, that's sort of Noun Project's way of knowing it's going to read at a lot bigger size, right? So the smaller one is really good. It also helps you sort of like smooth out detail and extraneous stuff and all that goodness. So last time I taught you guys about using Photo Booth or your own iPhone camera to get some sketches going for what it is that you're doing. Gosh, let me even see if I have that thing. Let's go here to Illustrator, hide others. Yeah, I still got it. Okay. So here is my photo from last time, okay, which I'm going to do open with, control open with, and I'm going to open it with Illustrator. Okay. So this is a bitmap file, right, which I'm going to copy out of this document, okay, and then I'm going to paste, sorry, I've got two versions of Illustrator going right now with a graphic about the Senate. All right, so I'm going to paste this into here. You can see it's a lot bigger than 100 by 100 pixels. So I'm doing command and then minus and plus. It would be control minus plus on the Windows side, and that's how I was zooming in and zooming out. You can see the blue outline is showing me my image, and then the black outline is showing me the artboard, right, which is currently, let me get my tools over here, which is currently set to 100 by 100 pixels. Okay. So I'm going to now scale this, all right, this image. And this is a really valuable thing to learn in Illustrator, like when you're setting up stuff to trace. I know I showed you last time the 2 layers thing. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to roll my mouse over the corner, the bottom right-hand corner of the image. Okay. And then I'm going to put my finger on the Shift key. And when I hold the Shift key, I'm doing my middle finger on the Shift key. I am going to be doing something called constrain proportions. So if I just let go of Shift key and start dragging this around, I have the freedom to really just bend this any way that I want to, okay? Which is wonderful. I love freedom, okay? But what I need to do here is to scale with proportions. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and I'm going to then drag from the corner. All right, I'm holding Shift, and then I'm going to then scale this guy down. As you see, no matter where I drag, I get this locked thing where it's going to now keep the proportions in shape, okay? But if you notice, because I dragged from the bottom right to the top left, it's scaled up to that corner, all right? And I can just move this back in place, right? You can see my icon fits nicely, all right? But I'm going to take this a step further. So we know that if we hold the Shift key, right, and we drag now out, you can see it scales up. It will scale like that. But what if I get this thing like nice and perfect? All right, let me do this one more time. Get it back in. So what if I don't want to like mess up? I don't want to have to do a 2-step process where I then scale and then drag, right? Which is blah, right? It's just extra. I don't like doing extra. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then hold Shift key again with my middle finger, start to drag, but then what I'm going to do this time is then put my pointer finger as I'm holding the Shift key and dragging the Option key, okay, with my pointer finger. So if you're looking at your hand right now, your left hand, middle finger's on the Shift key, pointer finger's on the Option key, and I'm dragging from the corner. Watch what happens. Ooh, center scale. Okay. Now be careful. Don't let go, because if you let go, you might not do what you intended. So the way I let go is I finally drag, let go of the mouse, then let go of my 2 fingers. Okay. So that's the process. Let me back up. All right. Another keyboard shortcut real quick, Command or Control Z is undo. All right. Rather than try to scale something back or move it to the position you thought you had it previously, don't try to do that. Command or Control Z will just take you back to the previous step. All right. Sorry. Quick digression. But now what we're going to do is roll my mouse over the bottom right-hand corner, right, to use the transform tool. and then I'm going to shift and then start to slowly drag, and as I do it, 1 second later, it's important you do it this way, pointer finger on option, and then we will center scale. Boom, look at that. Okay, so we can get this thing perfectly positioned. Now, I'm not a genius. I'm definitely going to have to drag, so I don't win on efficiency. But center scaling, save your life one day. Okay, it really will. Especially when you have type in a perfect location or something that you just can't then reposition. If you center scale it, magic. Okay, so shift and option and clicking and dragging. That's the combination. That's going to give you the ability to center scale. Okay, all right. And then we also said, sorry, Command and Control Z, undo. So I'm Command plusing right now, or Control plus to zoom in, and you can see there's my martini glass from last time that I drew, and then you know, did the poor person's scanner of just holding it up to photo booth. It's all I need for a drawing. It's fine, right? Scanning, of course, is real. You should do it for real. But if you remember last time, what I need to do now is make a second layer, and while that layer is there, I'll name it. I'll call it drawing, and then hold on one sec, folks.
My tooth is hurting.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we've got our two layers, right, we called this one last time sketch, and then our top one, they're arbitrary words. Call them the thing that you know they're going to make the most sense to you. So I'm double-clicking on the word, and that's what brings up the ability to retype the name. Okay, so what I need to do is remember this little tiny box right here. Okay, if I click on that, it's going to lock the layer, the sketch layer. All right, and that's important that we do that so that our lines are separate. Just like if we use tracing paper, it would be separate from our original underdrawing, right? If we're using a light box. So that's what the computer really is serving us as here, is a light box, right? Where we can just trace now with the fine vector high-res stuff. That's great, right? That's what we hope for. Cool. So that's all we need to really do here, and then we just want to click on drawing to make sure that we stay in that layer for sure. All right, got a couple extra things here I don't need. But Pathfinder, yes, we need you today. All right. So as I mentioned before, sometimes you want to like use shapes to make icons to get things going. So like really quick, if I was drawing a building, I'd get a rectangle tool, and I would start with that, right? Of course, fill it in pure black, 100%. Okay. Make sure all these are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 100%. All right, I need to go use the swatches. I'm not able to do it there. All right, that's pure black for sure. Wonderful. Okay, so yeah, if I was drawing a building, right, you can follow along. We'll do this martini glass in a second. So here's my building, right? Remember when I drew my apartment building with the really awesome fire escape? Well, let's get the basics down for just a regular building. I'm going to show you now the Pathfinder tool. So what we'll do is let's get some windows on this thing. So I'm going to grab now the rectangle tool again. This time I'm going to switch the color to white. Oops, sorry. I need to deselect first. Deselect with the black arrow. Remember black and white arrow and their purpose. Black arrow does objects. White arrow does points and lines. Okay. So black arrow, deselect the shape, and then we'll choose a new rectangle and choose white for it. And now it will draw a white square. And I'm going to hold Shift. And what that's going to do is give me a perfect square. Okay, and I can try my center scale. Practice that, right? See how that feels instead of just arbitrarily sort of just going like this. Sometimes you need that, right? It's always good to have both options. But here, right, we want to go with a perfect square. Boom. Okay, so you see there, we've now got the square in place, and that is awesome, right? It's just one. So what you can do is if you want to experiment practicing, you can try and draw the squares perfectly, right? And if you notice, I have smart guides on. If you go to View, and then you click on Smart Guides. Okay, that is right there, Smart Guides. That is a great way to make sure that you are lined up. Okay, but again, I'm always looking for ways to make things easier. I know that what's going to happen is I'm going to draw a bunch of these squares and perhaps use the alignment tool, but they're not going to be all perfect, right? They're going to look a little cockamamie, all right? So here's how you get perfection, right? Icons should be the most balanced things ever. So here's what we're going to do. We made one beautiful square, right? Our first square that we used the shift key to get constrained proportions, right? So what we're going to do now is Option and Shift are going to play a big role in you using Illustrator, both together and separate. So watch what happens when we use just the Option key and the mouse. Okay, if you notice, let me zoom in here. You notice when I hold down the Option key, okay, it would be Alt on Windows or a PC side. Excuse me. If I hold it down, you see how I get that second arrow? Get a little closer so you can see it. There it is. Okay. What that is the click copy tool. So what happens is if I hold down the Option key while I'm hovered over a shape, and then I click and drag, watch what happens. It makes a perfect duplicate of that shape right next to it. Like amazingly perfect. Okay. So one more time. If I click on my shape, Option key, I get that second arrow, and then I click and drag while still holding the Option key, right? Here's my routine for keys. Let go of the mouse, then let go of Option. Because watch what happens if, let me Command Z that real quick. If I do this, and then I let go of Option before I do that, it just moved my shape, okay? So I feel kind of stupid when I do that. Like the computer doesn't like me, okay? But now if you understand what's going to happen, it's not a frustration point. So roll over, right? Option key, and then now I click and drag, all right? And I can, again, try and do the best I can to line them up. And I can do these for days. Look at that. Ooh, Windows for days. Bam. Okay, crazy. But again, I have another issue. How do I get them lined up? Smart Guides didn't come alive right while I was doing that. Oh, that's probably because I turned them off. Good job, Mike. Well, let's see again. I want to test this out. Cool. All right, so Smart Guides will help you, right? But how do you know that you're spacing them perfectly? Right? Well, there's a tool to help with that after the fact, but let's do it from the get-go. Watch this. So I'm going to move my window slightly over to the left, okay? Just so it has a nice little buffer here. And then I'm going to drag by eye and try and get it so that it matches up with that edge, right, as best I can. Okay, cool. I let go, first the mouse, then the keys, right, or the key in this case. And now, watch what I'm going to do. Command D. Watch what Command D does. Duplicate. Duplicate. Oh my God. So by doing duplicate, because in one motion, duplicate will repeat your last action again and again and again. Okay, it's really cool. So what I did here, because I did click copy, was it duplicated, number one, the copying of a shape, and then the placement of it, 60 or 65 pixels over to the right. In this case, probably 10 pixels. Okay, and then it duplicates that again and again. It makes a copy and then spaces it, makes a copy and spaces it from the previous shape. So watch, if I zoomed out, I keep doing that. Look at that, perfect patterns. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Watch this. Now, here's where things get bananas. Okay, deselect really quick, and then if I take my black arrow and I click and drag a box around objects, they become selected. So if I just click a box like this, just that black box becomes selected. If I do it the black box and then these two, just those become selected. Okay, so you can sort of lasso stuff up, right? It works that way. And then there's also this lasso tool, but it does it for points as opposed to objects. So in the case of this is great. All right, so what I want to do is I want to make a selection by drawing a box around, but notice it picks up the black as well. Watch this. I can add or remove items from a selection with the Shift key, right? Remember we said Shift on its own is really cool? So check this out. If I hold Shift key and then click on the black, it no longer is selected as part of that group, right? So here's what I did. I bunched bunched up this selection by drawing a box over the black shape and the 4 white windows. Notice they all highlight. And then if I want to get rid of the black and isolate the white only, Shift, click on the black, and it goes away. It's like sort of saying remove it, add or remove. So here's an alternative way of doing this same thing. If I click on the white, that first one, hold Shift, and then watch, I can add to the selection. Add to the selection by hovering over and clicking these other white boxes. And there it is. Same exact way of doing the same thing I just did, but using the same key, the Shift key. So Shift adds and removes from a selection with the black arrow. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Option does this cool copy thing, right? When you click and hold down Option or Alt key, right? Click and drag, it makes copies. And then the Shift key allows me to add. Well, it constrains proportions when I'm scaling, but then it also allows me to add or remove from a selection. Amazing stuff. Okay. So watch this. I've now got these 4 windows here, right? And they're all lined up perfectly that way. Watch what I'm going to do. As a selection, I'm going to roll over any one of them, right? Anywhere there's white, and I'm going to hold down the Option key, and then I'm going to drag down. Look at that. Okay. Ugh. A second set of perfect windows that I now only had to get perfect that one time for that second section. And guess what I'm going to do? That's right. Command D or Control D. Duplicate. 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 Bananas. Look at that. Duplicate. Duplicate. Uh-oh. I think we got an apartment building, folks. Okay? So you see, like, we just made a grid of windows off of one window. So we first made the row by doing a Option click drag right to copy, and we just made copies of this first window right here, 1, 2, 3, and then we took the whole thing by group selecting it by either dragging a box around it or Shift click, 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 release Shift. We get a group, and then we did another Option copy. Like, let me just show you how bananas this gets. I can then take this and multiply it again. And multiply it again. Okay. And then I can take this and multiply it again. Okay. This gets to the point where it's infinite. All right. Watch this. Right? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay. So that's the power of the click copy and then using one shape as a seed shape to then use duplicate as well as the grouping and removal of items from the selection. Okay, cool. All right, so now watch this. My windows, if you notice, now I'm looking at symmetry. Okay, it's a little bit skinnier here than it is here. Okay, so watch what I'm going to do. I can draw a big box. There's a bunch of ways to do this, but right now, with learning what we're learning tonight as far as selections, I will draw a box around my whole apartment building, just like that. And then Shift click on the black to get rid of it, right? So it's omitted from the selection. And now I just have my windows, all right? And now instead of dragging, I'm going to tap the arrow key because the arrow key is going to move over my thing like a pixel and a half, and that got it nice and perfect, okay? Sometimes it might not work perfectly for you with the arrow keys. You might need to zoom in and with a very steady hand move everything over to the right. Okay, until you get perfect alignment. All right, we'll talk about alignment again. All right, that's a whole lesson unto itself. In fact, if you look up top here, let me zoom in. Those are alignment options. Okay, there's a whole nother lesson for alignment. I just want to teach you tonight shapes and Pathfinder. Okay, and then we will get into, I promise, doing the align tool. All right, but we've already achieved alignment by using the smart guides and then the click copy. All right, last touch here. We're going to put in now a new independent shape, which will be our door. Okay, cool. All right, so as you can see now, we've got white shapes on top of black, right? And if you remember, Noun Project said the only color we can use is black. So what we're going to learn right now is how to cut holes into this shape, right, with these windows that we've created. So the white will turn into clear. It'll literally act as a stencil and slice out holes, and we'll see through it, right, in just a moment. And that happens with this tool called the Pathfinder. Okay, so we're going to do two things with the Pathfinder. We're going to cut, and then we're going to add. All right, so still things we're going to do in the building, but watch how we cut first. So Pathfinder is really powerful. So if you're looking for the palette, go up to Window, and then scroll through and you'll see Pathfinder. Again, if it's checked, it means it's open somewhere. And sometimes checking it and unchecking it like brings it into view. If it's like buried under a bunch of palettes, that can happen. So in Pathfinder, let's take a close look here at some of the options. These are the two we're going to use today. This one's called Unite. Okay, when you roll over, it's Unite. Sorry, it's off a little bit. There we go. All right, so that's going to bring shapes together, and that was the one we're going to use second. And then this one is minus front. Okay, you can see there it says option click to create a compound shape and subtract. Okay, so there's some options there built into that one. I don't think Unite has one. Oh, no, it does. Okay, to create a compound shape. So remember, compound shapes are legal on Noun Project, so that's actually what will happen once we create this. All right, so check it out. Here's how we're going to do this. We're going to use the second option, as we said, minus front, right? And the reason I know that that's the right one is because we put these white boxes on top of our black square, the base of our image, okay? And yeah, all right, and this is very simplified. If I was continuing to work on this, I'd add more details. I'll show you, right? See how it goes. All right, so we're going to make this now, this minus front, we're going to do the stencil effect with the Pathfinder. So check it out. Draw a big selection box surrounding all of your graphics, okay? And it's really as simple as now with this, clicking this one button, and that's it, okay? The shapes will now cut a hole into what it is that we got going on. You can see this now is a compound path, right? It's sort of a temporary way of holding this together. It's not like a finalized piece or what's called an expanded shape, but compound paths are legal on in SVGs. It maintains its strength, so and its completeness. So that's cool. All right, one more time, right? It's amazing how easy this is. It's so easy to miss. So black arrow, draw a box to surround our whole selection. Okay, we've got windows, door, black, everything good to go. Second button in from the left on the top in shape modes, minus front. Bam. All right, and it's gone. Okay, literally it's gone. So we've now removed that piece. Okay, so now by using the shape mode, we've completely just now used shapes. We haven't drawn anything with the pen tool, and we have a window, right, and doors for an apartment building. So amazing. Cool. So let's see now what the other option of the pen tool or the Pathfinder tool will do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the roof of my building, and I'm going to then draw a couple more squares, right, just like this, and they'll be black, and I'm putting them on top. Let's get a little steam pipe there, right? And they're just squares, and I'm freehand drawing these, okay? All right, and maybe I want to do something a little fancy here. Watch this. Use the white arrow and drag that thing down, right? Because it makes that cool like building topper thing. Yeah, that's fine. It's all made up, but it's cool. All right, and then one more little detail here. Let's add a little bit of like a building eave. Nice. Okay, so these people live on the top floor, don't get so much rain in their place. Cool. All right, so we now added some details here, but notice they're still all separate shapes. Okay, we need to get all this stuff combined so that way Noun Project likes what we've done here. All right. Yeah. All right. That should be good enough. We're not going to get crazy tonight. So another opportunity here to see how Pathfinder works. We're going to choose everything once again, all of our new shapes. As I mentioned, they were just squares, as I did before. And then instead of clicking the minus front, we're going to click the Unite button. Bam. Okay. Do you see that? These used to be separate shapes, and now they are now all one continuous shape. So that's great, right? Not only is it great for Noun Project, but if I wanted to, like, later on when I start doing illustration, watch, let me put this gradient in here real quick, okay? Let me show you how different colors and things affect different shapes. You see how that's sort of like weird, right? It's sort of treating it all as one separate sort of entity. That can come in handy. But in the case of icons, right, if I hit Unite, you can see it now all becomes one solid piece. Perfect. Exactly what we're looking for. Okay. All right, so check this out now. We're gonna take the door and we're gonna add some detail there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my rectangle tool and I'll add a little footing here, right? This isn't just like a sort of a weird bottom, right, to that door. Okay, and then I'll add the seam to the door, just in the center, all right, and then a little crosshair, and then that shape there, and I want to have that shape be perfectly replicated over here, so I'm going to do Option Copy, and then bring it over just like that. So I've got like a cool little door, right, with push and pull handles there. So again, and I can do all this at once. If your details, you do them all at once, that's fine. Okay, but you can see all separate shapes. And when I click Unite, right here, that first option, right, take a look at it. There it is, Unite, watch. Boom. It all now becomes one solid piece, which is fabulous, okay? This is exactly what Noun Project is looking for, right, as far as this shape goes. So if I wanted to submit this right now, I absolutely could, all right? So that's just one way to go about things, right, is by starting with the sort of primary shape. In our case, it was just a big rectangle, and then we had all the squares, right, going through it, and then a bunch of other custom shapes that were really just, again, all rectangles, and then it formed up this image, all right? So why go about it this way? Well, if you work this way, your images will be very consistent, for one, right? Because if you're using the same shape, that 45-degree angle, right, that right angle that is in, 90-degree angle, wow, that is in a square is going to show up continuously throughout. Whereas if you do things by hand, or if you do things with the pen tool even, there's a little bit of wave, a little bit of sort of bend in the line that will be apparent. And that's hard to keep consistent across everything, okay? So as much as I can, I like to use shapes. Like if I'm drawing like an iPhone, right, I'm going to use this rounded rectangle, right, and try and get the proportions of an iPhone. Right, there it is. Right, it's not perfect, but it's close. Gosh, right, you can get it perfect if you really wanted to. Let's go bananas and make an iPhone 5. All right, really fast. I'm just putting those two shapes together. Okay. And then what else do we need? All right, a circle for the home button. All right, center scale. Look at that in action. The little speaker, another rounded rectangle. Right, I'm looking at my phone right now for a little reference. Okay, get that nice and lined up. And then what? Right, buttons on the side, the little hockey puck buttons. Those should be black. Okay, and then I think there's that little like dimmer, right, or whatever, that thing that puts it on mute. And then we can't forget the all-important spy camera, right, for the selfie. There we go. We'll make that white. Okay. All right, so watch now how in 5 seconds, watch this, make a selection, okay. Notice that I'm mixing both techniques, the addition and then also the removal. So I got to do one at a time, okay. So if I take all the white stuff, right, if I notice the box I drew is really tall and skinny, I don't want to get those hockey puck buttons into my selection. I just want the background, the button, the screen, the camera, and the microphone. I'm going to then do minus front, ka-chow. There it is. It's now punched through. And then the buttons on the side, I select it again with the black background, and then I add it like that. And you can see I got a beautiful iPhone here, right? If you wanted to, you can even add like, you know, a little, I don't know, a little wave mark or something into it. Let's just do it with the pen tool. I don't have my Wacom tablet with me, so I prefer to draw that way. I've lost my touch on the mouse. Okay, so I'm just doing some Bezier curves, and then like, there it is, right? Remember? Roll over, and it's going to then complete my shape. Boom. Okay, and at which point I will fill that, and then now I can do the same thing, right? I know it looks kind of weird, but of course you want to make your sort of, they almost look like zigzag or lightning bolt lines for a highlight on a screen, right? But you can building, details, iPhone, details, all from shapes, right? So this is your shape tool. Let's get up close and personal on that real quick. Okay, so take a look here. If you see that the bottom right-hand corner of the shape tool has a little triangle, right? And as do other tools. What that means in Adobe interface language is if you hold this, click and hold this, there are other tools, there's sub-tools that are related. That keeps their tool palette clean, right? But you can see we've got rectangle, rounded rectangle, which I use for the iPhone, rectangle I use for the hexagons and dodecahedrons and all those fun things. Star, and then for some reason there's a lens flare tool, which, all right. I've never used it except in experimenting, but sure. If you figure out a cool use for it, then amen, but I haven't yet. So anyway, if you're like, oh man, I need to make a star, well, there, right? Let me zoom back out. I just chose the star tool, right? And look at what it does when I draw a star. There it is. Okay. Now, it's not quite like an American flag star, so if I double-click on the star in the palette, like this, all right, I got to zoom back out. I double-clicked on it. Oops, I'm sorry, not in the palette, but the cursor. So if I don't click and drag, but just click really fast, I get a star pop-up right here. Okay, this isn't easy to find. Not everybody, like, you know, they don't just immediately tell you where this is. But what this does is this shows you the inner and outer radius of the star. So that's like the pinch points and then the expansion points, and then also the points, right? So you can make like a brewer's star, right, which is 6 points, right? Or I guess it would be a Jewish star as well, like a Star of David. But if you adjust, let me erase that real quick. Click again. If we adjust the, we go 28. Let's see what that does. Yeah, you can see it's making much more of an even star, right? By adjusting those numbers. You don't get to do them live. I wish you could, but you know, plugging in and trying and erasing can really sort of help you, you know, do what you need to do. So if I did this one more time, 28. I bet it's 30. 30 is going to be a perfect number. Nope, too much. 29. Still too much. Okay, so I bet it's 28 and a half. You can do that. 28.5. Yeah, pretty good. I bet it's probably 28 and 2/4, but yeah, or 28 and a quarter rather. Yes, wonderful. Okay, so we've got star tool, polygon tool. I just switched to change to it. Again, if you click once, you get this special pop-down thing for it. All the shape tools have this, by the way, but they don't all do these groovy things. You can set the size, the radius, but then you can also say how many sides. If you want to make a perfect triangle, this is how you do it. It's a little bit hard, but set it to 3 sides, hit OK. Perfect, equilateral triangle, right? Wonderful. I know somebody's making eyelashes. Guess what? Eyelash. Okay, this is sort of how you can make an iconic eyelash. All right, zooming in there real quick. You know, also, one thing you guys can notice is if you roll over a corner, I'm not clicking or anything, just rolling over. You see that 2-headed arrow right there? Right there, that guy? That is the rotate tool. Okay, so let me back out and I'll show you what that does. You got to make sure it shows up. Then you can click and drag and you can rotate this thing. And this is how I sort of, like I would do eyelashes, right? I'd sort of put them along the line and then rotate them a little bit. My eyelashes are a little fat, but yeah. I will trust that your experience with putting on mascara will come in handy. Okay, so that's triangles, right? That's what the polygon tool. So I click polygon and then I click outside of here. Any shape tool does that. So rectangle, if I click once, there's things that you can change, like the corner radius of a rounded rectangle. You can make it tighter or looser. Rectangle, just the width and height, nothing special. I bet it's the same for ellipse. Yep, width and height, and that's it. Okay. But when it comes to the polygon tool, clicking gives you sides, right? So we could do a 10-sided object, right? Or, I don't know, what's a famous multi-sided polygon? How about a stop sign, which is an octagon? Perfect. Okay. So geometrists, eat your heart out. All right. This is what Illustrator is awesome at, is like being great at making shapes. But you got to get creative with making shapes, starting to see shapes in symbols. You know, like if you look at a symbol, like draw its basic shapes, you know, like where you see squares and triangles and rounded rectangles, those sorts of things. That's the language that you're going to use when working in Illustrator, okay? And it allows you to create the things that you want to create. So here, right, remember my martini glass? Look at how handy now. Polygon tool, 3 sides, bam, right? Rotate it into position. Okay, nice, needs to be scaled down a little bit, but not too bad. Look at that. Bam, I can make it a little wider if I want, so it matches the martini style. Cool. All right, another triangle. It's going to go at the base. Right there. Look at that. Perfect. Okay. All right. We need to do a line tool here. I'm going to show you how that goes. It's really easy when you're thinking about 2 shapes. You can do it with as many shapes as you want, but 2 are really where it's at. You can't just align. Well, you could align something to the artboard, but I'm going to show you the standard way, which is to another shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this bottom part, right, the base of the glass. And then I'm going to select with Shift the top part of the glass. Okay. And then up here are align tool things, but there's also an align palette, which I'll pull open here. So here is the align palette. And you can align objects in certain ways. All left, all center, all right, vertical top, right, vertical center. There's a whole bunch. And then there's even this distribute. So you can distribute objects across, like the windows. If we wanted to distribute windows evenly across the span of the front of the building, this is how you do it. This is a whole nother lesson, which we'll get into a little bit more, but it exists. There's some great tutorial videos out there on how it actually works. For now, we're going to use this one, align center. Zoom back in on it. See it there? So align center, all right, when we push that button on this align palette, these 2 shapes are going to line up tight. Watch this if I pull it way off there. Select it again, align. Boom, it locks tight, perfect. And it's doing horizontal align center, right, which it takes the center point of these and then aligns them. It's great, the way it should be. Okay, and then now, last part, the stem of the glass is going to be just a very skinny rectangle. And what I'm going to do now, group selection around everything, align one more time. Usually align is a good thing you do at the very end, right after you've drawn your shape, just align. Right, get it all centered, right, or aligned to the top, those sorts of things. Like for those people who have, in their icons, they have people and an object. You can align like the feet of whatever it is that's there, a table or a pottery wheel or any of those things, easel, and then the feet of the person or the object. You can make them both be aligned bottom, right, and they'll lock in tight. So that's cool. It takes practice. You're not going to get it the first time, but practice, right, with align. And then last step here, right, we take all the shapes through a group selection, we pull back open Pathfinder, and then we click now Unite. And look at that. It turns into a beautiful single shape that is perfect now for the noun project. All right, let's do one more thing. It is a martini glass after all, so we're going to make an olive, right, make it white. That shape right there, and we'll turn it a little bit. All right, just like that. And then what do we say? We give it a little stem, I guess, right? All right, now we get into another issue, but that's cool. We'll resolve it. Select it all, right? Both shapes, even though they're overlapping. I don't need to unite those first and then cut. It'll all just do minus front, just like that now. Cool. So there it is, my martini glass. All right. Now to see everything in full glory, I'm going to turn off the eyeball, which is the visibility of the sketch layer, right? The underlying layer where my sketch is right now. All right, and I turn that off, and you can see everything. Let me get my palettes out of the way. I've got all this stuff in beautiful black and white glory. Okay. So we've got enough room here now for one icon. So what I'm going to do is I'll do one of these at a time and getting them prepared. So here's where I go next, right? After I've created and sort of expanded everything, right, using Pathfinder, I'm done right now. Everything I've done up to now, I've completed the process. I'm going to go and now do File, Save for Web. Okay, really tiny. You can zoom in, 800%. I know it looks pixelated because it's right now, as you can see, there are these presets. Okay, these are the Save for Web dialog presets. Okay, and there's a few in there that you can use. Right now it's wanting to go JPEG because that was like my last setting that I had, but that's not what I need here, right? Where it says JPEG in this pull-down menu, you can see, oh, wow, I've totally forgotten. The process has changed here because they now no longer do this out of SVGs out of here. Wow, sorry guys, I'm an old school player. That's how it used to be. So I apologize, this step is a misstep. We're going to cancel. Okay, so the way that we do save for web, okay, or save for SVG, is we're going to go File and then Export. All right. Now, if you've ever exported something, it's just like save, but it's going to transform the file into a new file type. Okay. So I'm going to make a quick folder called noun proj. That'll be on my desktop. Okay, and in this list, all right, wowee, we don't have SVG either. I apologize, guys. This is not working out as well as I would have liked. I bet it's save as. Let's see. Oh, all right. There it is. So, yeah, so that's it. So it is, I apologize here. Well, let's see. What is package? Nah. All right, I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to learn what that is. These are new features in Creative Cloud. So what we're going to do, we're going to do save as, right? So first thing we'll do is we'll save this as icons, right? And it'll be an AI file format in my noun project folder. Right? Go through the standard saving Illustrator things. You don't have to change anything there. It's all good. So these icons are now saved in sort of Illustrator-esque readiness, right? You can come in here. Of course, we've pathfinded them, so they're all cut up now. But if we wanted to keep working on this file, we could. And then what we'll do is File, Save As now. Not save, but save as. And we're going to do SVG from the list. It says Format, and it should be default Illustrator. But we're going to go to SVG. Okay? And then we're going to click this thing that says Use Artboards. Okay? And we've got just one artboard here. So all is fine. If we had multiple, you can set a range, but it's cool now. And we're going to call this martini.svg. And then we'll save. And all this is fine. SVG version 1.1, totally fine. We'll say OK. Cool. All right, so that now saved that SVG file. Get rid of that Illustrator document there. All right, and we can go to our desktop where I have my noun project thing. And there is now, ladies and gentlemen, because of the artboard trimmed everything else, here is my martini.svg. Okay, so this thing is ready for prime time. I could totally put this up right onto Noun Project right now if I wanted to. Okay, so watch now what we can do. We can then, in our Illustrator document, we can move the martini off the stage and then bring our apartment building onto the stage. Okay, and the apartment building needs to shrink a little bit. It's a little too big, right, to fit in their 90 pixel buffer. And now, File, Save As, and now we'll call this Building. And make sure we have SVG chosen from the list. All right, you can see there, SVG. And then we're going to do, use artboards. And then all, right? Because right now we've just got one artboard set, so it's all good. And then we'll say save. Zoom out here. All right, again, we don't have to change anything that's going on here. Building SVG. There she is. One more time. Move the icon off the stage. And now we'll bring in the iPhone. Okay, try and get it centered. Doesn't matter if it's off a little bit, it's totally cool. Somebody's going to mostly, when they download it, take the icon right out and put it in a project they're working on. And you can take that dollar to the bank. So, iPhone time, save as, iPhone, right, we'll name it. Notice that, like, since I've been making SVGs, the format stays that way. use artboards. Notice it adds the 1 to it. It's not a big deal. It's okay. SVG, save. It's called iPhone. Okay, cool. So now, right, this document's been edited. We could close it if we wanted to because everything is saved the way that we've been working. So now in my folder, I've got building 1 SVG. There's my icons AI file. That'll be where I go back. It has like my template, right? If I make a new SVG, I can, you know, pathfind it to get it prepared, make sure it's full black, and drag it in there to the 100 by 100 pixel template, and then I can just save from there as an SVG. There's my iPhone, right? Zoom out here so we can see. Cool. My martini. And then the building. Okay, so I've got 3 icons, right? And as you saw, I did very little with the pen tool. Most of the stuff that I made was through shapes. Okay, so you know, you got a lot of techniques upon which you can accomplish this. Is what I mean to say. So don't feel like you have to do pen tool. You have to do this. You're going to learn skills every time you do a project in this class. So whether you do it now or later, it's okay. Right? I would like to see you practice both, right? Use shapes, use some custom stuff with the pen and pencil tool if you need to. All right. Coolio. So let's go back here to my courses. I think we got it open here still. Yes. All right. So what we're going to be doing next here, guys, is you're going to give me, because we got to keep rolling and rolling, and then the week after, we're going to be on 4th of July break. What I want you guys to do is, you've got now the week to produce this as a vector symbol, okay? And then try your best to get it uploaded to the noun project. So we'll need to make a noun project account for yourself. And yeah, so I'm going to put a note here that just says final vector version due, and then what's next class? Let's look on a calendar right quick. 24th. Wow, I can't believe it's already that. June 24th by 6 p.m. Okay. What we're going to do, guys, next class is we're going to have a crit. Okay. We're going now. If this video stuff didn't work out so well, I was going to suggest that we get together in person and do the critique. We may do that for the next project. I'll need to get a sense of everybody's availability, and then I'll set a date, okay, upon which we'll do that. Next project after this we're going to be moving into is going to be dealing with photos, right? We're going to be combining type and image and working in that realm. But next class we will have a critique, okay? So what we'll do for critique is I'm going to give you guys feedback, but then everybody's needs to give a comment on everybody's piece, right? Strength and weakness. Okay, but what you need to do is find 3. So you'll do, right, written feedback on each icon set. All right, so for you colleagues, so the way that you guys are going to be uploading this, right, so 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses, okay? So you're going to be assessing like each set. So you might find that like 3 of the icons are rad and you tell us why, and then 3 are not, and you tell us why, okay? But what you'll do to hand stuff in, okay, is you'll turn in a JPEG, right, that basically is what's called a sample sheet, okay? And a sample sheet, I'll explain here, it just displays all icons in a set. A lot like how you see on Noun Project, right? So if you go to Noun Project, right, there it is, pipes. See how these are all laid out in like a grid, right? That's a nice way to do it. So if you wanted to, you know, arrange it this way, you could. If you wanted to arrange it in a circle, however, anything that's sort of presentation worthy is really good. And that's going to be the, you'll put a JPEG up on my courses. Okay, you'll post that, and I'll make an uploader into, let's see, into the uploader next week. Okay, and then also make sure that you upload your icons to Noun Project. Okay. What I'll teach you guys to do next time is, well, after we do our critique, is I'll teach you how to bundle up all your SVGs into a zip file, and you'll also turn those into me as well. Okay. If you know how to do that, proceed, but I'll take care of it next class after we've had our critique. Okay. So that's what's going down next week. Is this thing is due. Okay. So yeah, some of you guys might be nervous. Don't be nervous. All right. Do the best you can. Right. You're really you're learning here. Right. You got to grow. So you're not going to just be awesome straight away. And if you were awesome straight away, then I'd say, hey, go out and work. Right. I can't teach you much more than what you already know. But my goal here is to get people to sort of push through what they think is impossible and to, you know, produce the best work that they can, and then be thoughtful and responsible to feedback and to hear like what others have to say, right? And also defend your ideas, right? Really sort of explain what it is. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to write 3 to 5 sentences, right? Because we won't be presenting these things. Ooh, sorry, I got a good idea. Okay, well maybe we'll do 3 to 5 sentences for now. But I guess how many of you guys can record a video with your computer or your phone, and then you can upload it to my courses? Because I think it would be super rad if everybody recorded their own presentation of their icons. I wonder if we can do that. Do me a favor. Email me if you can. I'm going to write a note here. Email me if you can record a video explaining your icon set. Okay. Worth them Queens. Okay, so hit me up and tell me like, hey, I can do this. Okay, and if you can't, then I'll see if I can work up some sort of tutorial, right, to get us going with that. But yeah, if you have a webcam on your computer, you can do it. If you have an iPhone or a Droid phone, you can record video. And I don't need anything more than a minute, frankly. I want you to just tell me, right, in a few short sentences, this is my icon set. I made it because, and tell us the truth. Tell us, hey, I did research and I found out that these things didn't exist, or I have a passion for this stuff. Yeah, I'm very familiar with this, right? It's something close to my family, my culture, you know, all that stuff. Explain, okay? Give us an explanation as to why you did this and why you think it's valuable, right? So I'll put that here, right? Why you created your set, your icon set, why it's valuable. And think about that, right? Because you can be like, well, somebody out there could use it, it'd be great, right? And it's like, well, no, think of an application, right? Give an example of application. So think about like where the symbol could be used. Would it be a corporate icon? Maybe not. Would it be a sign for something? Would it be on a t-shirt? Would it be what, right? Like think about all the places icons are used. Would it be in an interface, like a car dashboard or a computer, right? Where would it help, right? Where does, when you don't have the ability to use language, right? There's a language barrier. Where does it help? Okay, that sort of thing. Cool. All right, and then, yeah, we'll check in, and then, yeah, right, we'll say here, next class, we'll learn to zip up our .svg files into one doc and then upload. Okay, so that's an easy thing, but you've got enough to do. Let's focus on the creation of these. You've got 1 week, so there's a little bit of pressure on you, but it's okay. We will not do this week the vector shape sheet, the second one. I don't want to overload you. I think you guys need to give these icons their full attention because I want them to be good. I want you to have them accepted by Noun Project, and I want you to be happy with what you produce. I mean, this sort of begins like a bigger thing, right, that can sort of grow into what it is that you got going on. And like, you know, I'm always showing you guys, like I'm constantly making new icons as I am doing them. So yeah, so the other day I came up with a couple new ones. Just, you know, as I go, I've been able to put these together. All right, so yeah, so here's a new one. This is a swing set. Look at those chains. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, folks. And if you notice, I didn't even connect the seats, right? It still looks good. I just like they look like smiley swings. And then lastly, my other new one here is a breadboard. If you're a electronics geek, then you sort of understand what this is. It's a prototyping board. Essentially, like those are underneath is copper plate. And if you stick wires in there, you can create a circuit without soldering, right? Without melting the metal together. So I thought this was really valuable because I studied physical computing and electronics design in graduate school, and this was something I was very passionate about. So not like this icon would be helpful in instructions, like for example, labeling pins and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm giving you an example of like what I would say if I were to write this up into 2 to 3 sentences, 3 to 5 sentences. That sort of explains what it is, my intentions, right? Those sorts of things. So 2 new ones. Always want to give you the latest and greatest with that kind of work. All right. So guys, we're getting close to the end here. If you've got questions, hit me up on email. Like if stuff is still not working out for you, that's cool. We can work it out. And then here's where you guys are going to post the final version. So here, please put a JPEG. Okay. I know I said do the post a Save for Web and Devices JPEG, right? And then make sure that your SVG symbols. We're going to do that also. Right? We'll create a second thing for that. So no worries there. Cool. All right. So guys, I think that does it for today. We won't have a lecture. There is a PowerPoint here that's got some stuff. You can go through it, but you've got enough to do. A lot of drawing, a lot of sort of negotiating with Illustrator to sort of see, what it is that you're going to want to do. Let me get my face back on here for a second. Okay, so I wish you guys a lot of luck, and definitely feel free to email me. Go back on the video, right? Watch this video again and see how I'm treating, my stuff, how I'm using shapes. I'm not trying to like freehand stuff and really do it. Like you can even look back now. Now that I've shown you my secret, look back on the symbols that I have made on Noun Project, and you'll see there's tons of pre-made shapes on there. Because I want perfection and I want balance, right? And I want symmetry with the stuff I'm doing, and consistency. So using shapes, repeating them by using the Option keys, the Command keys, and the Shift key to sort of get things aligned. Pathfinder was a huge thing we did today. The copy click with duplicate, right? Command D, that was a good thing where we could do, and it would just repeat shapes. Again, very helpful things that increase the workflow of any designer. Any illustrator who's working in this medium. So cool, guys. I appreciate it. A little bit of a shorter lesson tonight, but this gets you going. Okay. So like I said, holler at me. You can get me through my Queen's email. Definitely do that. Like I said, my courses I don't always check those messages because they don't come through. My email easy. So please get me there, and I wish you luck. You want to send me a draft during the week? Do it, okay? But just make sure that you get that JPEG where you put all your icons together in one space, right? Even if you make a new Illustrator document, letter size, page, put all you copy and paste your icons there, save for web, and get me that JPEG, okay? Peace, folks. See you next week, okay? Take care, and good luck.